But okay, I think it's about time. Gonna kick it off a little bit before. In case it's not clear for people, I do like heavy metal, and so that's one of the things that I really like about this country. And so the slides, I think this is the only slide that actually reflects that. But off we go. In case you're not in the right talk, pretend. I mean, you pretend that you're interested. It's all good, because now it's gonna be a little bit too late to walk off, and I'm gonna shame you on stage. So that's how it's gonna go. But okay, I'm gonna talk about OCI because I'm one of those boring folks that get excited about really old and stable technologies, right? I want AI to be a little bit more boring, besides all the hype. And so that's what we're gonna talk about a little bit today. Um, Show of hands a little bit. I mean, and who uses AI here? Right. I mean, and your team uses it probably. And if you don't, then like you gotta get your shit together, man. I mean, come on, seriously. But like basically for the recording, basically everybody raised their hands. I think at this point, and so I have a background in security, and us security people like to fear monger a little bit, right? So I'm gonna start as well fear mongering, right? I mean, we already had the first real vulnerability in MCP, even if it's a very young protocol, right? And you all know, maybe you do or you don't, the shit show that happened with Light LLM and this several supply chain security compromises they've had. Plus, now with OpenClaw being all the hype, there was a report that about around 41% of the skills in the registry that they have are vulnerable or just plain malicious. I think malicious was something like 36. So that's a huge number, right? And so fear mongering aside, there are a lot of things that we might have solved already if we already just used the boring technologies that we already know and love. At least I love. So a little bit about myself. My name is Juan Osorio. People call me Oz. That's a little bit easier. And I work in AI, right, in an AI company. I founded a project called ToolHive, which you may or may not have used, but it allows you to run MCP servers and install agent skills in a containerized fashion, right? Because I think containers solve a lot of things. And so try it out if you want. But before that, I mean, I've been in the cloud for a long time, right? So I've been in OpenStack, I've been in Kubernetes, I've ran bare metal clusters, I've been here and there. But that aside, all I want to say is like I really care about security, right? Which is why I'm here trying to give this talk. MCP, I don't know if how many folks know about it, but the gist of it, just in a very, very quick fashion, is that it is a standard protocol that allows an AI agent, right, to communicate with external systems. That's it, right? That's how you plug into Claude your Gmail or Google Drive or a database or whatnot. So the idea is that there is one lingua franca, like one protocol, and so you don't need to retrain the AI to run all sorts of hipster CLI commands. It auto-discovers it via MCP. So that's the idea with MCP. And agent skills are kind of like if you work in operations or you run Kubernetes clusters, it's kind of like a playbook or a run book for the AI, right? It tells the AI what to do, and it does so in a clever fashion, so it auto-discovers how to do things. And you combine things together, right, like MCP and skills, and all of a sudden you can have playbooks for your AI to access your internal system. So you can get really clever things with your agents in such a way that they can debug your cluster, debug your database, all sorts of things, right? So that's the gist of it. If you want to know more about MCP or skills, like reach out to me because this talk is not really about that, but more about the packaging side of them. So with the packaging, though, comes a lot of the same old problems and the same old questions that we've asked around software all along. What's in this MCP? What's in this skill, right? How was it built? Who built it? What is it vulnerable for, right? Have they patched the latest glibc vulnerability, or is it still going to have an RCE that's going to wreck my whole company if it gets exploited, right? So, and more importantly, as an organization, how do I even enforce that I'm not running a vulnerable version of things. So all of these things don't change. There are things that you as operators in the cloud already know and have to do. Now you have to do the same things for AI, so it's cooler, right? But yes, I mean, these are all of the same questions that you have to do. And unfortunately, for job security, um, a lot of people are rediscovering this thing, so to say, right? So if you read a tutorial about skills or about MCP, you're going to notice that it tells you to run NPX, right, or UVX or something of this sort directly on your machine, which might or might not bring a bunch of things like a crypto miner or a credential stealer or so on and so forth. Basically, actually, what happened with Light LLM, that it would actually bring in malicious, well, a worm, basically, into your machine. So this becomes, these questions, answering them and having solutions becomes more and more relevant with the evolution of the landscape, and as it's more and more simple to generate exploits, right? Like now we can code really fast. Well, guess what? Attackers can generate worms really fast as well. OCI, hopefully by now, if you're in a Kubernetes talk, you might have heard of this, but if you haven't, OCI is basically the Docker file, right, to some extent. And it's a standard that allows you to build container packaging, right, but also serve it in a registry and have a lot of other metadata about it, right? So in the terms of an MCP server, let's say you have an MCP that you're going to build for your company. You build it with Docker build or Podman build. It's going to turn out into an image, and that's going to be content addressable, right? I mean, you have a floating tag, which is maybe latest, but please, folks, use checksums and content addressable references. Right, that aside, you push into a registry and you're going to have your image. And that allows you to push metadata, right? Like your SBOM, provenance information, attestations like, have I run a scan? Did it pass my scan? What other things can I defer from it? What was the CI environment looking like? So it gives you very rich metadata, and you can refer to it via a thing called the Referrers API, which hopefully it's not the first time that you hear about it, but if it is, it's fucking awesome. Right, and it allows you to attach all of this extra information into an OCI image. Not only that, like you can do multi-architecture builds with this. So like I love OCI. It's a very, very beautiful spec, right? So I think I am that guy telling AI people, please use OCI for everything if you can, right? Because it's all software in the end. And that's what we're going to do, right? We're going to take an existing MCP server and we're going to package it with OCI and start adding things to it, right? So demo number one, and I am a masochist, so I don't pre-record these things, but I don't want to type in front of you because I get nervous and I mistype. So I'm just going to press enter and it's actually going to run the commands. So let's see what we're packaging, right? At this point, I have a very simple Docker file that just takes a node package, npm installs a server that hopefully it's a package that you trust, and it runs it, right? In this case, though, if I'm going to run it as a container, at least if it installs a crypto miner, it's only going to run in the container and not in my machine. But you should scan it at some point, hopefully. So let's build it. And this is how you know that I didn't pre-record it, because it's actually building it and it's going to take a little bit of time. There we go. Sending the tarball. And there it is. This the image is built, right? Gripe from the company called Anchor. They don't sponsor me. I wish they did. I could use some extra cash for beer and carne asada. Does this beautiful open source tool called Gripe, which scans your containers for vulnerabilities. So you don't have to do that yourself. One of the things that takes the longest and that I should have done exactly before this talk is pre-hydrate the vulnerability database, right? So it has a DB that it downloads also as an OCI artifact, pulls it down, builds a dynamic SBOM from your container, and it'll tell you if you should be worried or not. And now that's the part that's taking time. In people's experience, how fast has the Wi-Fi of this conference been? So. So. So I should switch to my own. I should have done that. Hashing updated. Yeah. Give me a second. There we go. Okay, but it knows already that there's a bunch of vulnerabilities in the container, right? Because it's not only packaging the MCP, but it also packages a set of user space, like operating systems packages. For example, you don't want to trust JavaScript crypto library. You want to use something like OpenSSL, right? Or boring SSL, so on and so forth, right? So we have some, at least we know what we should care about and we should mitigate. Right, so now we're going to generate an SBOM out of it. And again, same company allows you to build SBOMs and package them. Catalogs, package, cool. It's 1.5 megs, so it's a pretty big container. I could have shown you a smaller one, but I didn't because it's a little bit shocking sometimes, and I like to shock you. That's 3,000 packages. So that's NPM, because NPM is going to give you a ridiculous, stupid amount of dependencies. And also operating system dependencies are here. Let's look at them. And we're only going to look at 5, and you can see some of them, right? But this is great. I mean, we have a catalog of everything that's in this container. That helps you make decisions, right? That helps you protect your organization. So let's push it to a registry. And this part also takes some time. But yeah, like what I'm going to start doing next is, now that I have an SBOM, now that I have the container, I'm going to push them. I'm going to check them with cosign because I love that project. And yeah, come on, Docker. Did I tell you I was a masochist? Questions so far? We could take a couple. No? Oh, right, Demo Magic. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just look for Demo Magic in Google, and yeah. That's funny. That's the only question so far. Yeah. Fair. All right. So what I'm going to do now is sign the container with cosign. And cosign, for folks that don't know it, is a tool that takes a public instance of Sigstore, pushes the signature into an append-only Merkle tree, and it allows you to verify it without having to manage keys by yourself. So this is something that you can leverage, and again, public infrastructure, for you to sign, verify, and actually have a solid supply chain security story for your organization and for your projects. Right, so now we have it signed. I'm gonna attach a fake salsa provenance manifest claiming that it's CI. In this case, it's not, just for this demo, right? But GitHub would allow you to do it in a more professional way. I'm gonna do the attestation and generates the keys. It asks me to sign in because it's going to generate a key for my user claiming that I did that signature. Right. If you do this in a CI environment, GitHub actually has an OIDC endpoint that does it for you. So that would be the way to do it as opposed to this one. But know that you can also push it yourself, right? And for demo purposes, that's a nice thing to show, right? Transparency log entry created. We have provenance. I can start attaching SBOMs. And so provenance, where did it come from? SBOM, what does it have? And go again. There is actually a way to cache this, so you don't actually need to do the consent flow again and again, but I didn't set that up. SBOM attached. And now we can discover metadata via the refers API. In this case, again, I can use cosign to give me the tree of things that I have attached. And in this case, I had the provenance and the SBOM over there. Right, via the refers API, off we go. And we can verify the signature without needing keys, right? It just takes the public key that it attached to the transparency log and goes ahead, takes some time. There's a hamster running in the background and it verifies the signature, so it's correct, right? So that's great. Woo. Present again. But you could do more things with it, right? I mean, an MCP is an easy thing to containerize because it's a running server, like a running program. And that's normally what you run in Kubernetes. That's normally what you're going to containerize with Docker. But the fact of the matter is that OCI is generalizable, right? You can package almost anything. And skills is one of the things that I wanted to package. One of the ways to do it is to define a custom artifact type. So you're going to say, this is my custom artifact type, like this is a skill. This is a model, right? So you can define those yourself. Normally, you want to agree with other people about what you're going to use, but what I want to show is that you can do it. So the advantage that this gives you is that you have one registry for everything, right? You already have your own OCI artifact via, I don't know, Amazon or GKE, or maybe you're hosting your own like Harbor, or you're using Docker Hub, right? You don't need extra infrastructure. You can host absolutely everything there. So let's check that out. Skills demo. Here we go. And again, demo magic. Write it down. All right, so we have a little skill right here, and it's not going to be something super interesting, but a skill has, like I said, the playbook, which is skill.md, and then you can add scripts to it, which is what freaked me out, because you could put a worm here. But yeah, in this case, I have a greet.sh. The skill itself is nothing fancy. I just want to greet you, right? So that's basically what it does, right? It tells the AI agent, hey, like if I ask you to greet the KCD folks, please do so. Don't do this like adding backticks or all sorts of stuff, but run the script, please. The script is nothing fancy, it's just kind of hard-coded. KCD Helsinki, hello, that's it. You can imagine that normally for an AI agent, you can add more instructions, you can add conditionals, like it's basically a playbook in natural language. So I'm going to use ToolHive for this because I had to show it at some point. And I'm going to validate that it's valid, right? And it uses one piece that is not exactly standard format, but that's fine, right? Let's build it into an OCI container. I'm going to give it a certain tag. And now it's an artifact. Right, I'm going to push it to my registry, and that's normally the part that takes a little bit longer. However, this is 2 files, so it should be a little bit faster. There we go. And I can check out the manifest with Oras. Oras is a project to it just gives you a set of utilities to actually introspect OCI artifacts in general without the Docker assumptions, right? So I'm going to fetch it, and you can see that it has a couple of things running for AMD and ARM, because ToolHive does that by default. I have my artifact type, that's a skill in ToolHive, right? And I have some annotations so we can dynamically discover information about it. Let's sign it with cosign, and you can start imagining what you can do here, right? You can generate an SBOM out of it, you can sign it, you can create attestations, and actually make sure that the skill that you're running is what you thought you built, which is ultimately what matters. There we go. Okay. Right, cosine tree. And I have the signature, and yeah, it's only one signature right here. And we can verify it. And now what I'm going to verify is nothing fancy. I'm just going to check that it was signed by somebody using a Google account, right? You can check that it was a CI job. I could have checked that it was my email, but in a previous demo, I actually fucked it up and used my work email, and it failed the signature. And it was embarrassing. And so now I'm just verifying that it's Google. So right, I can, now that I have built it, now that I have pushed it, I can actually install it, right? So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to install it in the scope of my user in Cloud Code. And yeah, now I have the skill. I have two skills, one that I use always, the tool hive CLI user, and another one that greets you. And so let's see the greeting, if it works. Right. So yeah, Claude, say hi to everybody, and let's see. And so, yeah, Claude is going to start thinking. It's going to call the API. And if there is no downtime because it's been really shitty the past few days, it's going to greet you. And this actually calling Claude is not actually faked. Anthropic, please cooperate. Any questions so far while Claude works? There we go. It actually did. Great. All right. So, yeah, what's next, right? So now that you can actually package skills and MCP servers, like I said, you can start attaching a lot more information and run scans in your CI or in your registry directly as you would with any other piece of software, right? There's companies also evaluating, I want to not only detect if there's vulnerabilities in the script, but if there are attacks like prompt injections in the skill itself, right? So for that, we are teaming up with Cisco because they've got a really good scanner, but they're not the only ones, right? Invariant Labs had something. There's all sorts of companies doing skill scanners, right? So choose one, and there's a lot of stuff to do. And it's not only MCPs and skills, right? As a matter of fact, as I said a bit earlier, I keep claiming like folks use OCI for everything, right? So there is a project called ModelPack that tries to build models, datasets, and training code as part of the, well, with OCI, right? So you can download those and run them either in your clusters or locally, right? There's folks packaging agents with the OCI skills. And of course, Docker, as you have seen their model runner, they use OCIs, of course, right? OCI images. But the idea is, this is not new, right? I am that boring infra guy telling you that you can do the same old with this new stuff, right? You can add network policies to your MCP servers. You should drop capabilities. You should verify your images in the cluster, right? And not only that, I mean, hopefully locally, you can also run vulnerability scans or even on CI, right? Add cosign to verify. There's a lot of things that we all can start doing to secure our organizations and ourselves a lot better. And just because AI is the new craze doesn't mean that we throw away all of the things that we've done. It only adds to it. Let's keep following good practices and keep contributing to these projects. That's it, folks. There are some links if you want to check them out, and I'll be around if you have questions, comments, or just want to get me a beer, because I could use one.